NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore returned to Earth after a long journey to space, a trip that was way off from the initially planned itinerary. An 8-day trip that extended to over 9 months. What's this doing in a sports show, you may ask? This tough mission gives rise to a simple question. Were the astronauts at least compensated considerably for the troubles they undertook eventually? And since this is all about providing different perspectives to stories that affect us, we thought of comparing what that amount looked like when next to what some top athletes the world over make. Did the mission of two brave astronauts undertook financially come close to it? What many stars get for their sporting missions? Now, while I'm aware it is never fair to compare two different professions, that two ones that are poles apart. This one, though, has some similarities. Both of them, these two astronauts in particular, endured physical pain, overcame emotional and mental fatigue to triumph, just like athletes do day in and day out. Just that they did it in an environment completely alien, in space, and not in the comforts of a gravity-filled Earth. Yes, the pay structures across every field is different, but just looking at the work they put, and more importantly, the impact it has had globally, shouldn't it be at least comparable? Well, it isn't. Williams and Wilmore are classified under the GS-15 pay grade. It is the highest level for federal employees, so they will get their salary as usual. No overtime pay, though.
Astronauts only receive their basic salary without overtime benefits for incidentals, a small amount they are legally obligated to pay you. For me, it was around $4 a day.
This was the amount back in 2011, more than a decade ago. The current incidental pay amount isn't known yet. So if we do the calculation basis that number, this is what Wilmore and Williams will get. So their yearly salary is anything between $125,000 to $163,000. And if we take $4 as the incidental pay for 9 months, it would amount to anywhere between $94,000 to $123,000. These are the numbers for 9 months. Sure, the incidental pay won't be stuck at $4 currently, but even if the amount were, say, 5 times than that, or even 10 times to that, will it come close to what athletes earn? Football icon Cristiano Ronaldo reportedly earns $4 million a week at Al Nassr. That is his weekly pay. Inter Miami star Lionel Messi earns around $393,000 a week too, still more than 3 times of what Wilmore and Williams will get for those 9 grueling months. This is just weekly. You can only imagine the annual payout and what that difference will amount to. And the reason why the comparison is justified is because these are two of the best performing athletes in football, 2 stars in their field, just like Williams and Wilmore, 2 of the best in their business. Let's cross over to cricket. Some of the highest paid IPL stars are Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer, Venkatesh Iyer, Arshdeep Singh, Yuzvendra Chahal. This is only IPL of this year, all earning more than $2 million. All that for just 2 months of action. An athlete's mission still has an end date. They know when the tournament gets over and when their paycheck will be credited. For Ronaldo and Messi, it is of course the international and domestic trophies for their clubs. Their contracts get renewed after a certain set duration. For IPL cricketers, it is the 2-month period, which will get renewed next season or the next auction. But for Williams and Wilmore, there was no end date. They got on to that spacecraft thinking it was going to get over just after a week. But it resulted in a tedious 9-month project that of course took its toll. Just to give you an indication of what that entails, after staying longer in space, the body mass is likely to reduce by 5%. The fluids inside the body take a hit by 20%. Microgravity causes muscle atrophy. The skin faces impact that thins and takes a while to heal. There is risk of cataract due to radiations. While most of the genes reset, about 7% are disrupted. The radiation also poses risk of disease such as Alzheimer. The blood circulation slows down, and of course, production of red blood cells too decrease. Immune system takes a hit, and there's loss of bones. Because living in space may sound dreamy, as it looks here, it has serious side effects which we aren't aware of, and is extremely rigorous, more than what athletes go through. Much like how they will have to face the prospect of injuries and mental fatigue constantly, the pressures of performing on the field consistently, executing the task every single match, and working towards a desirable outcome. The only added advantage athletes have is that all of their battles still happen on Earth. The field of gravity is a rather known agent. But for Williams and Wilmore, and of course many other astronauts who are brave enough to engage in such an expedition, they had to battle levity, an unknown factor. But just going by all that they fought and the resilience these two astronauts showed, they easily outran, outswam, outplayed so many athletes to bring back key research that will impact the world. That is something you cannot put a price on.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Lakshman.
Good afternoon.
Making headlines in India well before you landed here.
New Delhi has raised concerns in the recent past vis-a-vis the Khalistani separatists that operate in New Zealand. How do you propose to address these concerns?
In our democracy, we believe in the freedom of speech.
Organizations like the Al-Qaeda or ISIS were to hold a referendum in New Zealand, something related to one of your Western partners. Would you say the same?
We have very well-defined laws in our democracy.
No specific conversation on Khalistan on this visit.
It was raised with me. I also raised back our position.
Are you willing to be open to these concerns from New Delhi?
As I keep coming back to you to say, we have strong laws in our system.
Do you think that Ukraine is at its weakest position?
This war is not about Ukraine.
Do you believe that your president was insulted? Yes or no question. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Diplomacy will work?
Yes,
Do you
it
think
will.
Russia will give up the territory if there is no ceasefire? Do you propose to keep fighting?
We are ready to resist.
Do you think there will be peace?
Many countries gave us 3 days.
President Trump said you don't have any cards.
We do not have another choice.
How do you keep fighting?
You ask me once again the same question.
Because you've not answered my question.
We have enough capacities to keep fighting.